Hello, welcome again. And today we're going to be talking about climate change. Talking about a continent that probably you know very little about. It is Antarctica. What do you think about Antarctica's size? Do you think it's the size of Russia, or the size of the United States and Mexico, or the size of Australia? Well, I think you got it right. Antarctica is the size of the United States and Mexico together. So it's a really large territory. And of course, we know that it's very cold, but how much do you think Antarctica is covered by ice? You think it's covered up to 98%, or to an 86%, or to a 77%? Okay, once again, I think you got the answer correct. Antarctica is covered by ice by at 98%. That means that almost all of the surface of Antarctica is covered by ice. But of course, there is a big problem that is happening that you probably know about, which is climate change. The Earth is warming up. We call it global warming, and because of that, there's a danger that most of this ice will be lost in the near future. Now, let's go to question number 3. Which of the following things do you think that you can't find in Antarctica? Do you think there are no rivers, or no deserts, or no trees? Yes, in fact, you're right. In Antarctica, there are no trees. There are almost no plants, and in fact, the Antarctica is considered as a desert because there is very little rain and there is no vegetation. Now let's look at question number 4. Which of these animals do you think you can find there? Do you think there are polar bears? Do you think there are seals? Do you think there are wolves? So once again, you got your answer correct. In Antarctica, there are seals, but there are no polar bears. There are penguins, but there are no polar bears. The polar bears are in the North Pole. Antarctica is on the South Pole. And of course, there are no wolves either. It's a very, very cold territory. So we find penguins and seals. Now, number 5. Who do you think was the first person to reach the South Pole in 1911? Was it Richard Byrd, an American explorer, or was it Robert Scott, a British explorer, or was it Roald Amundsen, a Norwegian explorer? Okay, your answer is correct. The first person to reach Antarctica in 1911 was the Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen, and in fact, Robert Scott and his team died trying to reach Antarctica, but they couldn't do it. When they arrived to Antarctica, Amundsen was already there, and on the way back, unfortunately, they were caught into like a really, really rough weather, and Robert Scott and his crew died before they came back from the South Pole. So we're going to read a little bit about Antarctica then. Antarctica is the 5th largest continent in the world and is completely surrounded by the Southern Ocean. It is approximately the size of the United States and Mexico. About 98% of Antarctica is covered by ice that averages 1.6 kilometers in thickness. It is the coldest, driest, and windiest continent in the world. Temperatures reach minimums of between minus 80 degrees centigrade and minus 90 degrees in the winter. The landscape is considered a kind of desert because there is very little rainfall. There are mountains, glaciers, and rivers, but no trees or bushes. There is a variety of animal life on the continent, but the two most well known are penguins and seals. The continent is positioned around the southernmost point of the planet, the South Pole. The first person to reach the South Pole was the Norwegian Roald Amundsen. Now, we're going to try to see now to explore what life would be like if you lived in Antarctica. Now, imagine that you saw a job advertised with the following conditions. Number one, not leaving your place of work for 6 months. You must stay inside. Number two, work 6 days a week but always be available. Number three, socialize only with your colleagues. There is no contact with other friends and family. I think that you probably be really meant to apply, right? Because if you want to work in Antarctica during the winter, you have to put up with conditions like this, because Antarctica during the winter is not only cold, but it is night. 6 months during the year, in the winter, Antarctica is entirely night. So let's see about a person who accepted the job. When she saw an online advertisement for a chef manager at the British Antarctic Survey (BAS) base in Rothera, Chef Fleur Wilson was certainly given food for thought. Fleur, in her mid-30s, felt it was time for an adventure and a life experience that really was different. Fleur is part of a group of key support staff at Rothera. The main focus of BAS is scientific research into the climate, the oceans, and ecosystems of Antarctica. In order to carry out these researches successfully, scientists need the help of people like Fleur to make their lives as comfortable as possible. A key responsibility for Fleur is keeping everyone happy, and one of the best ways of doing this is by keeping them well fed. This doesn't mean preparing high-end restaurant food, but it does mean organizing lots of social events to boost the mood. However, everyone has to play their part, and Fleur makes sure no one escapes doing the dishes. One thing that all staff at BAS share is the love of the continent. I don't mind the rough weather, Fleur says. I've been always found landscapes with ice and snow amazingly beautiful. Sure, I don't get to see much for 6 months of the year, but for the other 6 months there's plenty of light and the scenery is stunning. But quite apart from admiring the natural beauty of Antarctica, the staff all have a clear understanding of the fact that it's a fragile environment because, compared to the rest of the world, it is largely untouched. They're aware that the presence of human beings can have a significant ecological impact on the continent, and therefore they treat it with care. BAS research stations use solar energy to heat air and hot water. We try to be as environmentally friendly as possible, says Fleur. We don't want to leave a carbon footprint down here. As Fleur notes, Antarctica can tell us a lot about what's happening in the world. It can tell us a lot about global warming and climate change. In extreme climate like this, you can really notice if things are changing. During the winter months, all Rothera staff try to keep themselves entertained either by making midwinter gifts for each other or creating murder mystery event. Fleur has also taught herself Spanish to intermediate level. However, during the summer months she does cross-country skiing and enjoys trips to do some penguin and whale watching. Fleur realizes that living and working in Antarctica isn't for everyone. If you're the kind of person that likes shopping, going out for dinner, and clubbing, then forget it. She is now in her 4th year here and still finds it a unique and rewarding experience. I was smart enough to apply for the job, and I've been smart enough to stay, but it's a job that's given me so much. I've worked with some remarkable people, and I'm living in a unique and fascinating part of the world. Well, the thing that you're going to do is you're going to look for the vocabulary that is difficult for you. There is a task sheet in which I'm going to give you the words and you're going to write the definitions of those words. But right now we're going to focus on some key collocations to talk about the environment. So we're going to look at the text and we're going to try to match the words from the A column to the words on the B column to make these collocations. So rough. What is the word that goes better with rough? We'll find it in the text. Normally, rough can be used to refer to weather. Okay, rough weather that is very difficult, that is very extreme, that is very dangerous. Now, what word collocates best with environmentally? Of course, according to the text, we're going to talk about things that are environmentally friendly, right? So all the time we're going to be talking about things or actions that are environmentally friendly. Now, the third word, solar, what is the collocation that we can find with the side on the right? Of course, when we comes to solar, we normally talk about solar energy. That means the energy that is produced by using the sun's energy. Number 4, fragile. Fragile in the text is used to refer to the environment, and more we're going to be talking a lot about fragile environment, because this is what's happening in the world. The environment is becoming in danger and it's becoming fragilized by human action. The next word, ecological, of course, is going to collocate better with impact. Okay, so we can talk about actions or things that we do that have a positive or a negative ecological impact. Now, global, of course, in this text collocates with warming, and it is a phenomenon that a lot of people are talking about. So a very important topical issue today is global warming. You're going to hear this a lot. Now, of course, when it comes to pollution, we always talk about the carbon footprint. So carbon footprint, in this case, carbon collocates with footprint, and what it means is the pollution that you produce, the level of carbon dioxide that you send into the atmosphere. So the more carbon dioxide that you send up into the atmosphere, the larger or the more important your carbon footprint is going to be. The next word is climate, and of course we're going to place it with change, because today again it is a phenomenon that everybody's talking about, that we can see every day in action, climate change. The truth is that the environment is becoming so fragile that climate is changing. Like, we have extreme weather events like droughts or hurricanes and all kinds of things that are, of course, damaging our environment. And finally, the last word, the earth, is going to collocate with atmosphere, the earth's atmosphere, and that's the place where all of our pollution, all of our greenhouse gases go into the earth atmosphere. Now we're going to use the collocations to complete the sentences here, so you're going to follow with me. You should have already answered, and we're going to check your answers. So number 1, we're going to change our energy supply to solar energy to reduce what? To reduce, of course, our carbon footprint. Number 2, when the steam engine was invented, not many would have thought about what? About the environmental impact of burning so much coal. Number 3, our boat trip was cancelled due to why would we cancel a boat trip? Of course, because of rough weather, right? So number 4, the factories on the outskirts of town burn the waste and release toxic gases into the Earth's atmosphere. I think they should be shut down. Number 5, if there's an oil spill from a ship, it will damage the fragile marine environment on this bay. Number 6, more scientists agree that irregular weather patterns are evidence of global warming and climate change. And then number 7, traveling by train is slower, but is far more environmentally friendly than going by plane. The word is environmentally, okay? So I don't know what happened there, but it's environmentally friendly. So your last task for this unit is going to be to reflect about global warming and state your position about it. So we're going to read here some tweets by Donald Trump. He doesn't believe in global warming. He has repeatedly said that it's just a lie that people have invented in order to collect more taxes, and the people are going crazy for something that is not true. Let's read them together. So, number one, the concept of global warming was created by and for the Chinese in order to make US manufacturing non-competitive. Number two, give me clean, beautiful, and healthy air, not the same old climate global warming bullshit. I'm tired of hearing this nonsense. Number three, NBC News just called it the Great Freeze, coldest weather in years. Is our country still spending money on the global warming hoax? And finally, any and all weather events are used by the global warming hoaxers to justify high taxes to save our planet. They don't believe it. Money, money, money. So, as you can see, President Donald Trump does not believe in global warming. He doesn't think that the climate is changing. He doesn't believe that the environment is being damaged and that this has really bad consequences for everybody. So what you are going to do is you're going to write a tweet in response to his position. You can choose one of the tweets or you can create your own, but you have to tweet back to Donald Trump, telling him like if you think he's right or he's wrong and stating your position. Remember, it's going to be a tweet, so it has to be short, it has to be concise, you have to use powerful language, and you have to express your opinion, how you feel about what he says and about global warming in general. What is your position? Do you think we should do something about it? Do you think we should be aware of the damage that we're doing to nature and to the planet? So you're going to write your tweet on the task sheet that I'm going to provide for you. There's a little task sheet for this, and so this will be all for this part of the unit. Good luck with your tweets. Think about it, think about what you're going to say, and then I will see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.